flower business. Chris Spiker for AV Nice. Today, we're at the brand new LA County High Desert Regional Healthcare Facility. It's over here on Avenue I at about 3rd Street East. It's an amazing building. Amazing building requires an amazing lobby and entryway. So I'm with Brad Howe. You're the artist. Brad, great to meet you. You're a little taller than I remember last time I met you.
Like 24 feet tall?
You're 24 feet off the floor. You're working on a scissor lift and you're adjusting this 8,000 piece, would you call it a mobile?
I call it a kinetic installation. Yeah. I'm tuning it like a piano.
Tuning it like a piano.
I'm trying to get the pitch just perfect here.
And what was the process? How did LA County find you to commission this work of art?
Lancaster Museum of Art and History, MOA?
Yeah.
Their director is Annie Campanelli, who is a phenomenal resource.
We've talked to her. She's amazing.
Antelope Valley. Yeah, she is very plugged into the artists in Los Angeles. Her husband's a well-known artist, and she's curated tons of shows. And she told me about the project. And then I went through a selection process with a variety of artists.
How many artists were involved?
I'm not sure what the full original group were, but maybe, 20, 30, 40, I'm not sure. And then they narrowed it down to about 5 people. And then the 5 of us had to develop an idea and kind of like a thesis, come and defend the idea, what its relevance was to the story of the Antelope Valley, the people who are living in Antelope Valley today, and then the type of architecture that we're dealing with here.
Is this the largest piece or installation you've ever done?
Close to it, maybe.
Because this goes the whole lobby here.
Yeah, it might be. I did one for the Georgia International Convention Center that's, in the same kind of field, but this one, I think this is the bigger one. Yeah. And, but this is there's a much larger commitment, personal commitment to this one than the one in Atlanta. And that here I visited with the community about 12 different occasions to learn, to interview people in the valley, and to learn what their lives were like, what their fears were, imagination. And I tried to create actually a self-portrait, not a self-portrait, sorry, a portrait of the imagination of the people who live here.
And we're up on the 2nd floor. Will the public be able to come in and just enjoy this?
Well, that's the whole point. I'm hoping that it's an art installation that has many different ways to approach it. You can approach it as just a blue cloud over your head, and you walk in and it's just the soothing blue of the sky, of water above your head, and nothing more, and that's fine. Then you can see that it's moving. It has some elements, and then the more you invest in your curiosity and the discovery of what the work is, it just keeps delivering. The more you give, the more it gives back. So the idea is it's like an onion with 30 layers.
But it smells great.
So every time I get close to it, I think it smells wonderful.
People are going to walk in and they're going to look up and they're going to go, "What? What is this?"
Yeah. They'll notice that there are recognizable forms. There literally, it's about 8,000 icons.
Right.
And the icons were intentionally selected based on what I learned from conversations with people who live here. So it's not just from my imagination. Of course, I'm the artist. It all goes through my imagination. Yeah. But it started with the imagination of those people that I spoke to in schools, on the street, at the farmer's market in Lancaster, and in the museum, and lots of conversations. I took notes, and from those notes I gleaned forms and ideas and feelings, and tried to translate those feelings into icons, and that's what's here.
So these are all icons. These all mean something. They have a story.
Well, as much as any icon, which is like a word, it is a symbol for something. That something belongs to you. That's in your imagination. I can only create a situation. The meaning of the situation belongs to you.
So you live in California, and you've done this work of art in the high desert in Lancaster, California. And that's what we're always looking for with AV Nice stories, because it's amazing to me, the sorts of people that live here and come through here.
Yeah.
Those are amazing stories.
Well, you know, I have a personal history here. I lived here when I was younger. I went to school in Palmdale. I lived in Lancaster through a couple of different summers. I was, I think in the 60s and the 70s, I'd lay out in the desert watching tortoises walk by. You know, I dug pits in the ground and called them my forts when I was a little kid out in the desert. So my mother went to beautician school here in Lancaster. So Lancaster, the Antelope Valley has been, you know, part of my identity for my entire life. Antelope Valley had for the longest time sort of a remote nature to it. It was really where the mavericks and the individualists would come to homestead.
Right.
And then of course you've got the military story. You've got the big promise of giant airports being the Los Angeles airport was supposed to come. There's a lot. This is actually a place of a lot of promises and a lot of broken promises, but still resilience. So I guess if I were to describe the people who live in the valley, is you have to have a resilience to survive this, because it's not an easy environment. This is not the lazy beach town. This is high desert, baby, with the extreme weather and big winds and tumbleweeds, but you've got also that light. You know, it's funny. I have a lot of references to Europe because I'm there all the time. People in Germany and in France, they go to Greece for the light.
For the light.
Well, if they knew what the light was here, they'd come to Antelope Valley for the light. I'm talking about the artists, because you know it's such a different relationship. I mean, this is really the land of infinite horizons. This is huge.
Wow. This is good stuff. Yeah,
that's how I see it as an artist, you know. Yeah, but I'm comfortable here. I kind of feel like there's another thing about this is it feels like there's room for everything you want to do here. I mean, I don't know if it's still possible. It seems like you could throw a dirt bike in the back of your pickup truck and stop at any road and off you go.
Pretty much.
You could ride for the next 3 days and maybe see 1 or 2 other human beings. He still offers that, you know. And I think that whether you take advantage of it or not, that room gives your imagination. You don't have claustrophobia here. The opposite. You have expanses around you all the time. I think that affects your psyche.
In a good way.
Yeah.
You know, Brad, this is a place where people come because something's wrong, or they're sick, or they got a problem. When a little 3-year-old or a child comes in here 10 years from now and looks up in this lobby at your artwork, your installation, what's that going to bring up in that child? What's that going to say to that child?
Well, it's interesting how many projects I've done in healthcare, and it's interesting in that, you know, as artists we sort of, in some ways we follow the money, you know. The church was the money, and the popes were commissioning all the pieces. Then it became the banks. The banks commissioned all the work, and now it's healthcare is commissioning all the artwork, which is very interesting as sort of a historical thing. So I never anticipated I would be doing so much healthcare work, but once I tapped into it, I realized what my function is, what my role is. My role is to somehow channel energy. And I look at what the artwork that I do as a way to sort of either stimulate or somehow affect the energy of the people who view it. And I'm very conscious of the fact that when you come into a healthcare facility, there's a lot of transfer of energy here. There are people who are in need. They need other people's energy to sustain them. Those people who have to give the energy have to get their energy from something.
Somewhere, something.
So for me, it's not only those patients who come in here and they need maybe a distraction. Maybe they don't want to think about what's ailing them. And this is an opportunity for them to get to a different space. But then there are those who work here every day and they have to give and give and give and take care and take care. Where do they get their juice? You know? So I really am making the artwork for really multiple audiences, but 2, those who come for help and those who give the help. But as far as this particular work, I absolutely had the 3-year-old in mind, because I I have grandma and grandchild, and not those who walk into museums and go to galleries and understand what contemporary art, the dilemmas of contemporary art today. That's not important here. What's important here is that I make something accessible that stimulates the imagination. Now, any little 3-year-old is going to come and be able to identify the vocabulary here. They're going to see birds, they're going to see people, they're going to see cars.
Right.
They don't necessarily have to know that there is a sophisticated intent behind the ensemble of forms. They just have to know that that something is there that's very readable to them, yeah. So that they can have a participation in it.
It's there for them.
But if they come back at 13, their life journey has taken them to a part where they start to understand relationships. And now they're going to start seeing, you know, a tree, a bird, and a tractor, and they're going to build a story when they see those 3 icons. Now you bring somebody here who's 33, life's, you know, their arc is quite advanced, they're going to make all different kinds of relationships. So what this work is, it's relational. It's about relationships of icons for you to build a story that only belongs to you. Whether you choose to tell the person next to you or not, what you're getting out of the piece is maybe you do it, maybe you don't, but you're going to be telling yourself a story when you look into the piece.
Whew. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And you know, that kind of chokes me up. But that's a neat story. That's a neat thing that's happening right in our hometown, and we call it AV Nice. Here's your wristband.
Oh, bro, thank you very much. All right, very good. I'm very happy to have that. Thank you.
So,
yeah.
Brad Howe, the international artist, gracing and decorating the lobby, open to the public.
Yeah.
Over here at the LA County High Desert Regional Healthcare Facility. You need to come by, even if you're not sick, and check it out.
Absolutely, yeah. It's not. You don't have to be sick. This is for everybody. It's for the community.
Well, we're going to put it on the bus tour, that's for sure.
Okay.
Thank you very much for chatting with us.
All right, that was fun. Thank you.
Thank you.